Good sport. Now y'all are probably thinking, what in the world did that video have to do with anything? It had to do with the fact that Honda is not as good as Polaris. I need 4 volunteers real quick. Who can I go? Let's see. All right, 2 young ladies here on the front. Now 2 guys. No, y'all are too old. Jordash.
Too old.
Come on, old. Does anybody know what Nathan did this weekend? This was a very cool deal.
Red Bull.
Yeah, man, the Red Bull, he drank so much of it that they let him ride a motorcycle. And actually, he did the Red Bull, and out of so many people that were there, I want y'all to take these aluminum foil. I want you to make sculptures of your face, like put it on there and make sculptures of your face. Any way that you can. But the deal is, he went and out of all these people, he got he made it past the first day. You can't. What are you cheating? That's horrible, horrible. I wanted you to make that. Have y'all ever noticed, that each one of us are unique and we're created in an unbelievable fashion? God has made us special. And y'all are not even listening to me because y'all are doing your own thing. I'll give them a second to do that and then we'll get into the message because I know that y'all aren't going to listen to anything I say. That one actually is coming out pretty good. How's this one coming? Looking good? No? What is this? That's one way. That's pretty good. Y'all just keep on. Y'all keep on. After you make your. You can put it there on the 4-wheeler. You can put it there. What I'm doing? You say, Dwayne, why don't we have this up? We're doing a series, and we're just gonna, as God gives it to me, I'm gonna be giving it to you guys. We're gonna do this called Base Camp. We're gonna call this Base Camp. How many of y'all like to go camping? Anybody? Man, I love to go camping. I never do it, but if it's in my backyard, I'll go with my kids. But this is a tent that we have, and I really, really like this tent. I can kind of see you guys that way. I don't have anything in here other than some trash right now. Next week, there will be something in there, so I don't want anybody to go and sneak and look. But this tent has been through a whole lot. I remember that we had actually set this thing up, and I don't know if y'all saw this, but y'all see my hand right here? You see that? See the nub? See the nub? Okay. We had this tent set up on the back porch at my old house where I lived up in North Georgia, and we were sitting in it, we were laying in it, and we could see right through the 2 little skylights, and me and my kids were watching the stars one night. It was pretty cool, but we made a huge mistake because we left it open, and like actually about a week later, I guess, we had a t-ball party at our house, and all the little t-ball kids, I coached a t-ball team, and they all came up and they were like, man, your tent on your back deck stinks really bad. And I went in there and there was a humongous rat that had crawled in there and died. But there's no rat in here now, and I washed it and scrubbed it. But it was disgusting. I made Jenny get it out because I don't touch nasty rats. But this tent has been through a lot. Not only that, but we've set this tent up in our house, and our kids have slept in this thing a number of times. We have had it set up in the bedrooms. And what I want to do is I want us to take, and maybe this tent can be your life. Maybe you can symbolize your life, and you can say, all right, this tent is my life. And here's the deal. There's a lot of junk that goes in our life, and we can pull a lot of junk out. And we're going to find out next week some things that we really need to pull out. But I want to kind of take a whole different approach and a whole different step. This is my tent right here. This is mine. Now, all my kids have their own tent, but this one is my tent. And I believe that when it was made especially for me because it is super, super easy to put together. I mean, I can take it, and I put this whole thing up by myself in like 2.5 minutes. It is so easy, and I believe that God kind of uses us in that kind of ways. God, a lot of times, He will take your life, and He tailor-made your life for you. Did you realize that? Just like these masks, if we kind of lay these full masks out and we look, and I'm sitting here looking, and I've done this before, that right there may be the worst mask that I've ever seen. That was Jordan, I think. And this one right here is actually pretty good. I mean, you know, that's a pretty good mask. But when I think about this, we are all unique. God has made each one of us in an unbelievable fashion. He has handcrafted, and He has kind of formulated us. And I think that a lot of times, and you remember Jenny, she spoke about 2 months ago or a month ago, she spoke on hiding behind a mask. How many of y'all were here for that message whenever she gave that? And she had painted her face up. And I think a lot of times that's what we do. We hide behind our mask. But what we need to realize is, guys, our masks are hollow. They're not even real. our masks that we have are totally hollow. They're totally made up. And listen, that mask, whenever you do it, you're covering up the thing that God created you to be. Whenever I was putting this thing together today, I could not figure out, I guess I lied to y'all, I do have something in here. I could not figure out how this went on here. I mean, I struggled and I tried and I was like, this is my tent, but obviously I just don't know. Y'all know this part here comes out. I don't know how to set this thing on there. But if I did, I would be covering up the tent. Maybe I would, and I know that there's 2 little poles that go with it. I don't even know how those poles go. So I'm sitting here going, I'm struggling with it, and finally I just got frustrated with it. I rolled it up and I put it in the bag, and I didn't see it again, so I just took it out for you guys. I don't want to cover up what God's made me to be, is what I'm trying to tell you. And the thing is, if we would have had that top on, if we would have had this cover on, when the night that me and my kids were laying out, do you think that we could have seen the stars? So we couldn't have seen what God had put up in the sky for us to see if we had this cover on. And a lot of times, God wants to do something great in your life. God wants to do something magnificent. He wants to show you something amazing. But you have a mask on in your life. You have a mask. And listen, as we go through this whole base camp thing, and I'm telling you, man, as I get it, I'm going to give it to you. But God wants us to get back to some basics. I enjoy going camping, but whenever I do go camping, I've got to take things. I have to have a lantern. I have to have some chairs, which today there was a humongous bug that's still there. Whenever I opened it up, I'm telling you, that bug, I promise you, was maybe not that big, but it was big. It was a huge bug, and I was looking at it, and I was like, ugh, and I was chasing it and stomping it, and finally I crushed it. And if you want to see the aftermath of the bug and the guts, it's right here. You can see it after the service. And then we had a fire. Listen, we broke all kinds of fire codes to have this fire here, but it's pretty cool. And you got to have your fire. You got to have your chairs, everything for you to go camping. Listen, in your Christian life and in your life, God has given you this awesome life. But if you want to live life to the fullest, there's certain things that you're going to have to go, and you're going to have a little bit of spiritual maturity. You're going to have to take off your mask, and you're going to have to, maybe it requires you, instead of going to baseball practice one day or softball practice or football practice, for you coming and you saying, well, I just decided I'm going to go to church on that day. There's all kinds of things that God wants us to do and that God wants to show us. And the sad thing is, masks are so hollow, they crumple up. But these masks, whenever I look at them, what they really symbolize is they symbolize our search for significance. The reason why we really wear masks is because we want to be significant. Andy, whenever we put a mask on, what we're really trying to do is we're trying to be something that God didn't create us to be. See, here's the deal. I could put on a mask. I can look at Andy's life and I can say, man, Andy's got it going on. He gets to hang out every time I talk to him. He's watching football. And I can say, I just want to be Andy. And I put on a mask. And you know what? At that very second, when I put my mask on, I become a loser. Not because I'm trying to be like Andy. I become a loser because I lose my uniqueness. I lose what God created me to be. And do you realize, Will, God only made one Will. And if God created Will to be Will, and I try to be Will, it's going to be me. I can't be Will. I can try to be you. But the best that I could ever be is a second place. I don't enjoy being second. But what we do is we cover up our tents. We cover up our lives. And what we want to do is we want to get back to the base camp of this Christian thing, the base camp of what God's created us to be. We end up being a loser. We lose our uniqueness. There's 4 things that I base worth on that I usually do, and you may do. It's the 4 B's. Can anybody guess what the 4 B's that I base significance and worth on? What?
Both hands.
Both hands. Yeah, what a loser. He's not even wearing a mask, and he's a loser. Okay. I'm just kidding, Brandon. What are the 4 things? You want me to just give them to you because you're never going to guess them because y'all go to Lee County and Albany schools and homeschool and private schools. And I'm from North Hall, so I know these things. I know B's. I made it past A in school. That was such a cut down. I can't believe that y'all didn't throw something. Don't. And he's like, I've already balled this thing up.